Hi, and hello everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Let me give a quick shout out to our sponsor here, real fast. Oh yeah, good people over at The Ridge. They still make these nice, sleek, sexy, metal-plated wallets that fit nicely in that front pocket and give me a gravelly voice for some reason. Hit up that link down below, promo code melon. It's all you gotta know. Let's talk about rock. One of my favorite genres of music. You know, over here on this channel, we like to rock. You guys remember back to the 2010s, a lot of the popular output of music that occurred over that decade, the way that in that amount of time, hip-hop really became the zeitgeist that it still very much is today. That coincided with a lot of reactions among music fans, music writers as well, kind of pointing out what they saw as the death of rock music. Rock music's gone. It's no longer relevant. Like, sure, it's still here in spurts, but like as far as a mainstream art practice, it's just not here. Nobody's interested anymore. Nobody wants to see you on stage like doing fucking windmills on your fucking Stratocaster. And yeah, sure, you know, I agree. That very much is the case in a way. But have you noticed that as far as popular music goes, we are hearing more rock songs? Some of the biggest tracks over the last several years from people such as Lil Nas X, as well as Olivia Rodrigo, have really centered the guitar as an instrument, be it a rock song or not. Even Doja Cat, who has proven to be one of the biggest hip-hop and pop crossovers of this generation, recently did a whole cover, you know, not just doing a rock song that stylistically is like on the fucking money in terms of how the original sounded, but again, a tribute and homage to a long gone era of the genre. Seemingly every year I hear more and more Kurt Cobain ripoffs as well. It sort of seems like when this generation is trying to emulate or bring back sort of a rock vibe, they're trying to get in touch with that grunge era. Not to mention the fact that rock music is picked up as an ethos and an aesthetic repeatedly by a lot of these artists looking to kind of indulge in sort of an emo trap direction on whatever song or record they're putting out these days. A guy like Travis Barker, obviously pop punk and drumming legend from Blink-182, is oh so happy in many cases to be there on the production end to help that process along. Not to mention that right now, pop punk, specifically pop punk, a lot of the mainstream stuff that came out in the 2000s that was popping on the radio when I was much younger, is more popular than it's been in a long time. So much so that even Avril Lavigne feels encouraged to put on a little extra eyeliner. And hate the guy or love him, MGK is legitimately one of the most popular rock artists out there right now. You know, again, his music, a lot of it is trash, but still, he is putting rock music as a style and as a genre out there in front of a lot of people. So I don't know, guys, like as a longtime music fan who grew up with rock music ruling the radio, you know, I grew up and came of age during that grunge era. I'm hearing a lot more rock than I'm used to for the past 10 years. Now, a couple of things. Like one, of course, I'm well aware that rock music has never completely dissipated as a practice. Most of my reviews, again, just deal in music from the 2010s, and I have hundreds of rock reviews. If there was no rock coming out over the past 10 years, those reviews wouldn't exist. But also, I know I may get some responses here saying, well, Anthony, hey, things aren't like they used to be. It's not the same. Nothing stays the fucking same. Of course, if rock music continues as a practice, it's going to change. It's going to evolve, and that may involve changes and alterations that maybe you're not used to, maybe you don't like, maybe you don't see as cool because what you remember being cool when you were younger was a totally different thing. And look, when we think back to those eras of music when it comes to rock that we cherish so much, be it the 80s or be it the 90s, some of the most popular rock bands during those eras weren't that great and sucked fucking ass. In fact, some of the most hated underrated rock bands of all time. Came out during my childhood when most people would argue, like, you know, rock was at a peak of relevancy. Your Creeds, your Nickelbacks, rock inherently being the most popular or one of the most relevant music genres doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have, you know, good music coming out. With that being said, I do think it is cool, and I do think it is encouraging that there are younger music fans, producers, and listeners that are beginning to embrace rock music a little bit more, embrace guitar music just a little bit more. Obviously, like, the balance of genres right now and what's culturally relevant artistically does not need to be completely thrown off. I'm not seeking some kind of like rock revolution here. That would be corny as fuck. But as somebody who was sad to see this genre die out in terms of mainstream relevancy a little bit in the past decade, it is great to see some younger artists kind of taking the mantle and like bringing this sound back into the limelight a little bit, even if it is through some records and artists I'm not crazy about, because the alternative instead is like just allowing the genre to be completely overtaken by old heads, traditionalists, and purists, and people who would rather listen to fucking Greta Van Fleet than anybody who's doing something like new or in a different style of music or something risky, something different. Like, even if Machine Gun Kelly does suck and is corny as hell, for a lot of younger listeners, he may be sort of a gateway. And even on the indie side of things, there are some very promising new trends and bands. Commercially, Beach House's new record also did very surprisingly well. I'm not saying here that like indie and rock music are the greatest thing to ever happen culturally, that they're more popular than they've ever been, that there's going to be this wave that overtakes everything that we're listening to right now. No. What I am saying is this death that many were proclaiming over the last decade or so was more of a dormancy, and it sort of seems like in little pieces here and there, it's kind of coming back. It's being made cool and relevant again, whatever shape that takes culturally, and what artists are able to kind of bring it to the forefront over the next 5 to 6 years. It'll be interesting to see. And yeah, I think I will leave it at that. That is my commentary on this topic. Thank you very much for watching. And over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Mwah. I'll see you in the next one. Anthony Fantano. I want to rock forever.